All right, we live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another week of the Multiverse Podcast. I'm your host, Bad Top Bricks, and boy, oh boy, do we have a fun one this week. Oh my gosh, you guys are not going to believe this, but we were somehow blessed enough to be able to be joined by one of the best UFC MMA fighters to date. We're going to be joined with none other than Mr. Rob Font himself, top bantamweight, and he's joining us right before he's about to go into a battle at UFC 287 with Mr. Adrian Yanez. So to be able to have somebody like this, you listen. I'm too excited. I know it's shining on my face right now. But look. Before we get into all of that, man, you know what it is. This is the Multiverse. Let's go.
What do you know about the multiverse?
Yay. Let's go. I got to bring the team in, y'all. I got to bring the team in. Temper your energy. I'm woosah. Here we go. We got Tyrone Thornhill in the house. What up, baby? Man, listen, man, are we excited or are we excited, man?
I'm excited. You know how I do excited. I do excited just like it's like slightly higher volume, and that's about, you know me, when I get excited. But I am excited, and it's cool. I can't wait to get into this stuff.
Well, you know, I got to bring that excitement. We got to triple that excitement up, man. So we got Mini baby Grogu, aka Mini Morales. What up, baby boy?
What it do? I am here. Listen, by the way, Mini Bone is one of my new nicknames. We'll talk about it some other time. But I am here to make sure to let you know that Tyrone is excited. This is just the high level of excitement that he ever gets.
This is, I'm a broken person. This is how I get excited. It's like,
but you don't get people. This is him at his top level of excitement.
Yeah, this is me on a roller coaster. I'm like, this is fun.
Yo, guys, I'm super excited, man. I really can't contain myself, man. Minnie, you was able to facilitate this and bring your variant. Apparently, this is the one time in the history. This will never happen again. But this is if you didn't know, Mini Baby Grogu, aka Mini Morales, is an aka Rob Font.
Yeah, that's my real name. That's like my real name.
So don't be confused. But listen, like I said, man, we're super excited to be able to have one of the top bantamweights in the UFC to join us, man. And this, I mean, listen, I know, right? Listen, before we bring this guy on, man, let's just talk about some of his accolades, man. Right now, he is, I believe, the number 6 bantamweight in the UFC bantamweight division. He holds a record of 19-6. 8 of those all are by knockout. So that means if he put them paws on you, you're going to sleep. You know, and this dude, listen, we talked about this guy before we even had an opportunity to get him on the show. And me and Minnie were just talking about how great of a jab, if not the best jab in the UFC. Like, this dude's jab has snapped so many neck backs. Like, I mean, like we haven't seen that many neck snapbacks since lean back. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? We ain't seen that many snapbacks. You know what I mean?
Busta Rhymes break your neck.
And listen, man, you know, to be able to actually have this guy on here to talk about this stuff, man. Listen, man, I feel like I'm keeping the people waiting, man. I know they like, hey, we're tired of hearing you. Put them on.
You love a good ramp up, though. You love a good ramp.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I gotta get the good ramp. So let's give a big, huge round of applause for the one, the only, Mr. Rob Font.
Yeah.
Guys, appreciate you having me on. I really do, man. That intro was amazing. Yeah, you guys are professionals, man. Thanks for having me on, boys.
Man,
I
it's great to
appreciate you,
have you,
man.
Rob. It is great to have you, man. I just want to say to everybody out there, man, we just met Rob, and I've already feel this kindred spirit with Rob. Rob is like one of the most laid back dudes for somebody who whoops ass for a living. You know, what I mean, you would never think this dude was as humble and as chill as he is, but he is, and he's here. And man, we got a whole lot of questions, Rob.
Let's go.
I want Minnie, because Minnie has one question that he's been dying to ask you. And Minnie, look, I'm gonna give you the floor, Minnie. Go ahead and ask Rob what you
Well,
want to ask him, man.
I do have plenty of questions that I ask you, but I have one that I have to ask. Now we do share a last name. Now
Yes,
I have
sir.
to find out. Where do you come from? Because I know you come from Mass, and I know you found yourself discovering MMA in Tampa. So I'm trying to get the lineage, because I feel somebody have to pay child support sooner or later, and I'm just trying to see where you fit in. That's what I'm just trying to see where you fit in, baby. That's it. Practice elimination. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, when I saw your IG, I'm like, wait a minute, like is this my brother? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's funny, like you look like I gotta I should have my little brother come on. So you look just like my younger brother, right? Like as far as so like it's like a mix of like me, my younger brother, and then obviously you have my name. So I'm like, wait, this is something up. But so I was originally born in Massachusetts, but my parents were military, and they bounced around. Dad's born and raised in Chicago, mom and from Brooklyn, New York, and they met up in the Army, got together, had my sister and me in Massachusetts, but I was maybe out in Massachusetts for maybe a year and a half. When we started doing the whole traveling thing, getting around, and then we finally settled down in Tampa, Florida. So, you know, there's a lot of like common things, you know, military, Florida, the same name. Right. Puerto Rican background. My mom's Puerto Rican, my dad's Puerto Rican, and but it's weird because if I'm not mistaken, Font's an Italian last name, right?
Yeah. If most of people that have the Font last name comes from an Italian background, but you got to remember a lot of Italians came to Puerto Rico way back in the days when they got kicked out of Italy or trying to run away from Mussolini, all that kind of stuff. They actually moved to Puerto Rico. So there's the Font family in Puerto Rico is pretty big, but we're all connected somehow. So somehow, my brother.
Yeah. I'm like, man, obviously you get Puerto Rico because you're originally from Puerto Rico, like born and raised.
Yeah, I was born in Ethiopia, Puerto Rico, so I was born in 1986 in Ethiopia. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was looking for when you was kids and you moved out to Oakland, which is awkward. That's
Crenshaw. Yeah, my mom had the bright idea to move me away from the violence and then move me to Crenshaw in '96. Thank you, Mama. I can see you did your research, lady.
So I don't think we haven't really spent too much time out west. So I'm like, all right, but there's got to be something because it's like it's too many similarities, like Florida, Orlando, Tampa, like it's crazy, man. And my brother's name's Orlando. That's his name, Orlando Fine. You know, it's like there's so many little like things going around where it's kind of like this is funny. He's big on DC, big on comics, all that too. Like
nice.
He's huge on that. Which I should have had him on, but yeah, man. I was just like I was wondering like how like. And it's funny too, because like everybody calls me Roberto, like just kind of like joking around and stuff like that, like from the Water Boy. So it's kind of like it's like
right.
What? Like, this is too funny, man. You know, like Roberto, come in.
I know the feeling, my brother. I know the feeling.
Now Rob,
go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, Rob. I know you said you was a military brat. Yeah. You know, so you moved around a lot, and that's kind of how you wound up in Tampa. But I also know you've been other places: Japan, Malaysia, South Carolina, VA, New York. You've been all over, man. Like I'm in South Carolina. Where were you at in South Carolina?
I was young at that time. It was one of the military bases.
Okay.
You know, so I'll find out. But it was real young.
Fort Jackson.
But yeah, I don't remember too much from there. I kind of like I know where it's out there. I know I pick up more from like Malaysia to then Louisiana, New York, and then Tampa. But he was stationed. Well, my parents were stationed out there for a few. I visited not too long ago. But like yeah, I'm not too. I don't really remember too much from South Carolina though.
So Tampa was where you spent most of your time growing up, right?
Yeah. So like when people ask me where I'm from, I usually say Tampa. Or
Mhm.
before I kind of spent more time out in New York, because it was always, you know, every other year is a different state, different school. You know, for a few is a different country. Went from Malaysia to the different to back to the States. So it was all over the place. And then like we kind of settled down in Tampa. And so like when I but before I would say, yeah, I'm from Tampa. Now it's kind of like a mix of Boston, Tampa. So I'm just like basically a mutt. I'm all over the place. But yeah.
So what made you go back to your New England roots, kind of like
Um,
after you were stayed in Tampa for so long?
Wifey. So I was in Tampa. Some of her family lived in the same neighborhood as I did, and she would visit every summer. And it first kind of started off just a summer thing, and then when she finished school, she wanted to kind of like get out and get out of Mass, and she came out to Tampa to start going to school. She was going to USF at the time. And then we kind of got real serious. And then once she kind of finished up and wanted to go back to Boston, she was like, you know, obviously come check it out. At that time, I just started kind of training and getting into MMA. And I was actually watching a show that was showing a MMA show that was showing that was highlighting a couple of gyms in the Boston area. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I was actually on the phone with her too. I hung up the phone and listen. I'm gonna check this out. I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna do some research, and then I checked out the gyms, I researched everything, and then like I went and visited her, and then like from the airplane or the airport to where she was at, I started kind of like calculating where the gym was at, how far the airport was at, how far, and I just started like seeing how I could make this work, and I came out. I actually loved it. I wasn't even, and I came during like like a snowstorm too, so it wasn't like. It was like I was like it wasn't like the snow kind of like like scared me away. I was like, oh, that's not that bad. I jumped in the car and just started whipping it. Like I gotta figure this out. And I'm driving around in the snow, just trying to figure it out, getting outside, just like really. I was like, really, I'm gonna throw myself into this. And I was like, man, the snow's not that bad. I'm in love with wifey, and I want to get to fighting, and that's how we ended up out here. And I've been out here since 2000. Beginning of 2009.
Nice.
Yeah. So and that's when you moved back for the amateurs, the training for for the amateurs, right?
Yeah. So I took a kickboxing fight, like a amateur kickboxing fight in Tampa, and then that was like after like 2 months of training, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. The worst mistake ever. It was the worst mistake ever. like I get in there, I win the first round, and I just completely gas. I'm tired. I'm looking sloppy. I'm just like, I didn't understand how to control my tempo. I didn't understand how to control my energy. I didn't understand how to control speed and power. I didn't get that at first. It was just, I'm just gonna jump in and find out what happens. And even like the guys I was training was like, I don't think you should do it. I was like, nah, I gotta know. I just gotta know. And then I found out real quick, it's like, oh, yeah, bro, you overshot that. So we did that, and then but it kind of guided me to like, all right, now you know exactly what you have to fix. You have the spirit, you have the will to fight, you're tough, and again, that's only going to go so far though. Now we got to build more skill, and then obviously build the conditioning, and then so we did. So I did that, and I was training at a jiu-jitsu school, which is more of like grappling on the floor. And then when I got to Massachusetts, I started training at a Muay Thai school, which is more of a stand-up school. They still have jiu-jitsu and wrestling, but they're more geared towards stand-up. And I think I took off naturally with striking. Then I did jiu-jitsu, and I found like I guess for me the right gym to kind of pick that up. I did that, and it was over, man. I was like, I got to that gym, and it was over, man. I couldn't think about anything else but MMA. It got to the point where it was hard for me to watch like football and basketball games. Like wife would be mad at me because I'm sitting there like wanting to put old fights on. She's like, it's not even relevant. I'm sitting, you know what I'm saying? Like we're trying to hang out fights. I'm watching old boxing fights, old kickboxing fights. I'm throwing on old school Van Damme movies and old school whatever, any type of martial art I could throw, and I'm throwing that on. All the Rockies. I'm throwing all that type of stuff on. And then I'm obviously on YouTube. I'm like an addict, just watching wrestling, jiu-jitsu, anything I can get my hands on. And I just fell in love with it. And then to the point where when she saw that, she's like, "Look, I don't even want you to work. I don't want you to go back to school. I just want you to do this. She was like, how far do you think you could take this? I said, listen, if we grind out, I think I'll be in the UFC for 2 years. And she was like, all right, bet, say no more. And she just trusted me because she's not even watching me train. She doesn't know I could be blowing smoke up her ass. She's just like, you know, I could have been like, yeah, I'm the man. I could have sucked the whole time, you know, and she just knew. She's like, all right. She knew how passionate I was. She never seen me take on to anything like this, and she was all for it. So like I got out here. I first had like a couple bullshit jobs to kind of like make a couple dollars. So I was working at a 7-Eleven, and then I was bouncing at a club, and I'm not that big. I'm only 5'8", so basically I was like a professional snitch. I would tell the big guys to go.
You were 6'9" in it.
That guy over there, you know. So like, but you know, I got hooked up with her brother.
Anytime I see a bouncer at a club or a bar who is not huge, I'm like, I am not fucking with that dude at all. Like, there's a special talent there. He is hired for a reason. Do not mess with him. Absolutely.
So her brother, my wifey's brother, ran a club out here, and he kind of hooked me up with a job. And she saw that I was obviously working later than coming home at 2 on the weekends and stuff like that. She's like, listen, I don't even want you doing that. Just focus on this.
Focus on.
I did that. It was over, man. I got around the team. I got around my manager. I got around my nutritionist. I got around my strength and conditioning coach. Got around my mental coach, and from there it just took off. We just ran them up, man. We was fighting anybody, whoever, whatever we could fight was taking off, and we just basically became the #1 guy in New England. And we racked up a record to 10-1, and then I got the call 2014 to make my UFC debut.
Rob, if you don't mind, I know you were talking about my bad, Tali.
No, go ahead.
If you don't mind, I know I want to backtrack a little bit because you said you work at odd jobs and all that stuff. But some people know, some people don't know that you were a Pizza Hut delivery man. By the way, do you still like Pizza Hut? You still down with the Pizza Hut? We're trying to get a sponsorship, man. Come on now, Rob. Damn it.
We love the Pizza Hut guys over here, man. Yes, about that. I was delivering pizzas in Tampa, kind of like bullshitting, like pretending like I'm gonna go back to community college and doing all that. We were just kind of hanging out, man, just partying and just working a job, you know. And then I delivered a pizza to a house. They were getting ready for a UFC event. It was BJ Penn versus George St. Pierre, and I delivered to the house, and they were outside doing in the garage doing some drills. And I kind of knew what boxing was. I kind of knew what wrestling was, but I didn't really understand UFC or MMA. And they broke it down to me, and I'm like, all right. And like, in my mind, I'm working. Like I was probably there for like 20 minutes, right? I still got a pizza in the back. I'm like, no, I gotta find out what's going on here, you know. And then they kind of broke it down to me, what they were doing, what jiu-jitsu was, what MMA was, what the UFC was. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I was distracted. I couldn't even pay attention at work. I was, again, I'm like, that delivery, the delivery I had definitely was late, definitely was cold. I didn't even care. I was like, bro, I don't care about it. Like, fire me if you want to. Like, I found something. And it was one of those things that like, you know, I think things happen for a reason. I got that job, which I hated. It was, you know, running around smelling like pizza. Like at the time, it was decent money. It was just to get me by, to kind of like pay my rent and have extra money to kind of party on the side. But it was, you know, it was no passion. There was no real, you know, growth in that, unless I wanted to, you know, like open up my own store. But it wasn't. I'm not, you know, I didn't really want to make pizzas and stuff like that. So there wasn't nothing there. When I found this, I think I really understood what passion and love and into something that you wanted to do, and I figured that out with MMA.
Now, Rob, my question in regards to that is, like, did you already have it within you, a desire, or even not even a desire, but did you find yourself at times prior to you finding out about these guys training, ever just like getting into fights, or like, you know, having this desire to maybe not, and I don't want this to seem, but to prove yourself? Because I think as when you're younger and you're coming up, and you had a younger brother, which anybody who has a younger brother knows that there's competition within that in itself. But did you find yourself like in instances where you were maybe getting into fights or you had a level of aggression, or anything that would have made this experience of you just seeing these guys more than just that experience? Because I could have seen those guys too. It doesn't mean I'm going to be like, yo, next week I want to go train to be a fighter. Like there had to be some real desire deep down already, and it was just like, yo, all right, you know.
I think in growing up, I didn't really go too hard in like team sports. I played baseball, like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I got a little serious with that, but got distracted with that. I was one of those kids that I couldn't sit still. So like my sister, my brother, they would be inside watching movies and cartoons and all. And like at the time, my sister would collect CDs, and I couldn't do that. I would just be outside. So every other month, every other week, I was trying something new. I was that annoying kid that was begging my mom, listen, I got to get a BMX bike because I'm a BMX guy now. Then the next month, the next month it'll be like, I need some inline skates because I'm doing this inline skate thing. And then next thing is basketball or football or baseball. And I would just kind of dabble and just kind of move around. So I guess I was never afraid to look stupid or fail. I was always willing to try. Even when I would fail, I would just keep going until I kind of got it right, and I would get good. So I was decent at inline skating. I was decent at BMX, but I never took it that far. And as far as fighting, I had a couple scuffles. I wouldn't even say fights. When we would play football, we would it'd be like our neighborhood versus that neighborhood, and we'll kind of get into a couple scuffles. And I think I got that aggression off that way. But I've never really been big on fighting. As far as like going, obviously picking fights and then getting into fights at clubs or bars and like that. I never really did that too many times. But it was more of a willingness to try things, not look stupid, and just keep pushing until you got decent. I would slap box a lot though. That's what we would do. But we would obviously play Xbox or whatever and lose the game and talk shit, then we'll just all right, let's go slap box. And we'll go out there and we'll slap box. We'd even slap box out at the beach, hanging out, drinking, whatever. And before you know it, we'll make it into a fake ass kumite or some shit and go kind of half the water and just go at it. But it's funny though, now that I'm thinking, but that kind of led to then grabbing the gloves. It was because when you slap box, depending on how you throwing it, your fingertips are hitting the eyes. So it'd be you smack somebody, it's like, oh man, he poked me in the eye, I don't want to do no, or it would be, man, you lucky I'm not in shape because I would fuck you up, but I'm tired right now. So, you know what? Let's get some gloves. So we got the cheap Everlast blue gloves.
Right.
At the time, I don't know if you guys remember. You remember Kimbo Slice? He was doing his kind of backyard thing. So we didn't take it that far. I'm not gonna say we took it that far. We didn't take it that far, but we would throw the gloves on. So we would definitely scrap it out a little bit more, and then that's when I kind of once I did that a couple of times. So I think I got my confidence from kind of doing that, and then when I saw the guys doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling, I think, oh, okay, I want to try that. And then really it was to kind of bring that knowledge to go fuck up my friends again and all that. And I just took it a lot more serious. So then the same thing, I would have my friends come over and we would box, or we would grapple. And I had a couple of friends that came from the army, they're thinking army, I'm the shit. I'm like, oh, perfect. This is a perfect setup. I'm gonna destroy these guys, and they would come over and we would just duff them up. And then I think after I duffed them up or showed them up or would take them down or whatever, and we'll grapple, then I would show them what I was doing, which then I guess reinforced my knowledge on the thing. So it just kept getting better. My friends started getting better. Now we're having legit basically matches in the backyard. And then, and once I kind of got to ball, once I saw that show on TV, I was like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm out. I got to go figure it out, and just kept going from there. But as far as fighting too much, it was I remember my first fight. I was in 5th grade. It was a flag football game. It got a little rough, and I mushed the kid. He mushed me back. I punched him, and it was over. So it was never these crazy
1-0
drag him out type fights. 10-second scuffle, then we're both in trouble, but I was always, I don't want to say cocky, I was just always confident. I don't know why. I just let it be a soccer game could break out, and I'm so when I was in Malaysia, soccer was big for like high school. I mean, like PE and all that type of stuff. So even then, I just jumped in. Like I never played, but I'm doing it, and I started getting good. And I was like, wait a minute, I even got on a team. And I'm like, all right, I'm just trying this, and then it was just like, then I kind of got bored with it. But like, I was always just that kid that would just try it. And then like, and for no reason, like I wouldn't say I was cocky, but I was confident. You'd be like, hey, you playing soccer? I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. And I never played, but I would act like I played before. And then I just kind of like just go with the flow, kind of like see what they're doing and try to mimic that, and then get up as I go. And obviously you can only go so far with that. But then once I kind of like, and then I think my willingness to do that, I would get like the better guys kind of, oh, wait a minute, hold up, try this, do that. And I would, like I said, I'm coachable, so I would pick up things pretty quick by that. And then before you know it, I would usually get on a team or something like that. And then I would actually get the real training, and it would sharpen everything up. But I think it was more of a willingness to not be shy, a willingness to fall and laugh about it. And then a willingness to just kind of like try everything. And I think that's what, I guess, gave me the confidence to even try MMA.
I have a question just about this this moment of discovery, because you talked about just being good at so many things and trying so many things. What was it like when you had that first fight, or like the kickboxing fight, or when you finally got that moment of discovery where you're like, this is it, this is the thing that I'm going to do for my life? Like, what did that moment feel like when you discovered that?
I would say it was that kickboxing fight. I felt so alive after I lost, and I'm like what? Like, I'm lost. I got my ass whipped. But people are like, they're cheering me on. They're saying how tough you were, because I destroyed this dude for the first round. I fucked him up. Like, I was doing everything, but I just did too much. I didn't understand how to, like, the longevity game. I didn't understand it. So they're like, bro, they're more talking about how my first round went over any of his round, the other guys' round went. And then after they saw that I gassed out, they always kept telling me how tough I was. I was like, I'm not, whatever, you can do whatever, I'm not stopping. And then I just kept going, and I'm sitting there like, damn, they're throwing up in the ring, and I'm like, I'm just tired. At that time, I was still fucking partying, smoking, drinking, so I was like tired, like I'm hurting. And then, but yeah, it was the willingness to not stop. I showed some decent stuff in that first round. But after that, it was like the applaud I was getting after I lost, the way that when we were leaving the arena, how everybody just kind of, hey man, the encouragement was there. Even like, obviously the people I was training with, they're like, bro, like I know we told you not to do it, but I'm kind of glad you did it. Like, I could see how you can take this pretty far. And then from there, I was like, all right, that's it. Let's just tighten it up. Let's get with those coaches. Let's get with the nutritionists. Let's get with the conditioning coaches and really put it together. And that's what we did. But yeah, I would say that first one. And and it's weird because I'm 50-50 with it. I technically, I wouldn't tell a young kid to go do that. So technically it was a mistake, but I think it was one of the mistakes I needed.
Mm-hmm. Experience. Now, one of the things that I've heard around your name is, that you have this high motor, this motor that just doesn't stop. Like it's telling in your record, because you've never been knocked out. That's one thing you can, despite all, whatever, instances and tribulations you faced, nobody's been able to knock you out. You know what I mean? And that's huge, because I know that in the last fight, in your I think it was Marlon Vera fight, I watched that fight. You came out like you were trying to get him out of there quick. And you looked great. Like, you looked great. Those first 2 rounds, you looked great. And it was just like, he, at the end of each round, would catch you with these like fucking punches out of nowhere. Like, you're beating him up, and then bang, and it's like, oh shit, Rob, and then Rob's okay. He comes in the next round. All right, I'm gonna get back to what I'm doing. And then it's the same thing again. And it was like that fight. When I watched that fight, I saw a man who was determined to win at any cost. And that's been your kind of your moniker throughout your entire career, is if you beat Rob Font, it's going to be by decision, number one. If you beat, like right now, I think 5 out of your 6 losses have been by decision. So it's going to come down to the judges' scorecards. And it's because of that motor. When you're in these instances where you're like in the Vera fight, where you get rocked and you're like, oh shit, You know what I mean? And you get your equilibrium back and everything. And then you come out with the same type of fervor that you had in the first round, in the second round, and then you get rocked again. What is like holding Rob up at that point? What is like saying, look, I don't care what happens in this fight. I'm not going to stay down. Like, what is it that drives you and picks you up at, whenever those situations happen?
Yeah, no, it's that willingness to, like, that heart, that willingness to keep going, and always knowing that it's not over until like that bell rings. And I've seen crazy things to where guys are losing, and they put out their ass the last round, the last 10 seconds. So there's always that fighter's chance. There's always that puncher's chance, and I try to instill in myself to really believe that even if I'm down, I'm always that 1 or 2 combination or that submission away from winning this fight and turning it all around. Knowing that my conditioning, I take a lot of pride in my conditioning to where like I'm not going to get tired. You can beat me up, but I'm not going to get tired. And I think a combination of that is helps me get through some of these rougher fights. As far as like trying to, like, because like you said, I broke my own record on punches, significant punches, on a loss, right? So it was kind of like it's kind of like it's bittersweet because like I did some decent things in that fight, but also I could have did less at the same time and won that fight. Meaning like you said, I was basically winning the first 2 rounds, in the last couple seconds of the second round, I got clipped, and I come into the third round thinking with almost an attitude like I'm down 10 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Where I could have just eased up a little bit, chilled out, kind of played that Mayweather thing, and just maybe gave him the third round and picked it back up in the 4th round. But I think at the moment I was like, nah, fuck that. Let's go kill this motherfucker. Let's get it back. Let's get it back. But with that much value of punches, and like if I'm throwing 100 punches, all he needs is 1 or 2 like openings that I create by me throwing for him to sneak in, and that's exactly what he did. I believe I won the fight. He won the moments, though, the bigger moments, and I definitely wasn't wearing the damage. Wearing the damage wheel. I feel like the first big shot kind of like broke my orbital here, and my whole face just blew up, and then from there it just got getting worse. I couldn't see much. It just slowly just kept getting worse and worse and worse, but I was still there. I definitely got to say my willingness to keep trying, heart, and my conditioning. But with that being said, that's cool. I'm tough. I can do other things. I just got to be a little bit more strategic if it does get dicey. And I think that's what I learned a lot from that fight.
Yeah. We were talking about that right before you came on, and I was like, Rob's got the best jab in boxing now, and I mean that, like, I said what I said. I said boxing. I didn't say MMA. I said he's got the best jab in boxing because you have snap necks, bro. Like, it's like that. Like, they are like full on, like, they going back, bro. And when I see you doing that and controlling the pace, and then getting into these moments where you're like, all right, I'm gonna turn it up, and it's like those moments are most of the time in the fights that I've seen you in. Those are the times when you get caught. It's not like, because when you're on the outside, they really don't have any choice but to grab you, or like in the Jose Aldo fight, what he started doing was he realized that he was like, if y'all were just going to stand up, it was going to be a problem. So he started kicking your front leg, and so anybody who knows anything about boxing, if you're throwing a jab, you need that lead foot in order to kind of pivot off the back foot and snap that jab. You need to be able to plant that to give that power to that jab. And he was taking that away from you, and then he started kind of trying to take downs. But then you guys went in typical Rob Font fashion. You was like, look, nah, bro, we going in. And y'all went, and it was and like, whenever you get into these matches, bro, don't you almost always, when you get into those type of slugfest, win fighter of the night, like the fight of the night, like that? Yes.
Yeah. So like, so the best thing about like MMA and like, you can kind of get into like in boxing, you lose 2 fights, you're basically done, right? But MMA, the business model and the community and the structure is totally different. Like, they just want to see entertaining fights. They just want to see great fights, in fun fights. And obviously, I don't want to be in these type of slugging fights all the time, but they like that. The company loves it, the consumer loves it. And then obviously that's why they pay you extra for those type of fights. Obviously they have a fight at night bonus, but usually if it's some crazy shit that you'll get that extra check in the mail that nobody knows about. And I think everybody loves that. Like I don't care who you are. If you could be a grandma, right, at a party, and when you see guys going back and forth, punch each other, it's entertaining, you're fun, you're watching, you're like, whoa. But if they take it on the ground, they start grappling too much, it's kind of like, all right, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? So I think the back and forth punching type fights and either knocked out or not getting knocked out are always entertaining for no matter what. Dana White said it the best. Like right now, no matter where you're at, like if a cricket game broke out, depending on what country you are, you're not going to watch it. You don't care about that, right? But in any country you go to, any state, if a fight breaks out, I don't care who you are, you're going to stop and watch that thing. So I think it's human nature to kind of want to see a fight, I think if, again, like I said, I go back to the grandma analogy. Like if your grandma's at the party and she sees two people just going at it, she's instantly gonna know. Like she's gonna sit there and watch it. But if they're sitting technically going at it and working on takedowns and working on like position and working on certain submissions, she's gonna be like, what the hell is this? So I think naturally everybody wants to see that slugfest.
Yeah, absolutely. Your fights definitely bring the heat. And speaking of your fights, you have a huge fight coming up with Adrian Yanez. Currently, I think his record is 16-3, and he's 5-0 in his MMA kind of debuts. I'm interested to hear what you got to say about this fight and how Now I don't want to hear your game plan because I'm not trying to give Adrian no one-ups, but I've heard other interviews and kind of saw how that you're definitely not taking it lightly. But what is it that you want to see from yourself in this fight? Just kind of showing off like the growth that you've been able to take away from the Vera fight and also the Aldo fight. Even though those were 2 L's, I'm sure there were some things that you could take away from that and apply to this fight.
100%. I want to show maturity in this fight. I want to show the cleaner, crisper striker. I want to basically pitch a no-hitter in this fight. I want to get in there, pitch no-hitter, touch him as many times as I possibly can, and make him miss. A lot easier said than done, but I do want to show maturity. I want to show that I don't have to go in there and throw 1,000 punches that I could beat you with just maybe 4 or 5 punches at the right time in the right position without getting hit. Again, easier said than done. If I get hit, you never know. I might turn that shit back up and just start going in. Without doing too much, I want to pick him apart, let the knockout come to me. I think that especially in that Cheeto fight, I think I was pushing it too much. When you're constantly pushing and going forward and constantly pushing, you come a little more predictable, and there's never like this push and pull. Like if I can kind of push and pull, I can draw out more counters. But if I'm constantly pushing and he's always defending, all he has to do is counter it, And so obviously I know that going in, I would tell a young guy about that. But like when you're in that moment, you kind of forget. So my job is to, like, if it does get to that point, not to forget and be the more mature Rob Font, be the more mature fighter, and just do what I have to do to win the fight.
Do you feel like you've improved with your grappling? And like if it even though I've seen Adrian Yanez and he typically likes to stand up, but if it goes to the ground, do you feel confident in your experience and more in your grappling at this point in your career?
100%. I heavily do. I feel confident. I feel confident I'm going to take him down. I'm going to get on top too, and I'm going to grapple a little more this fight. I definitely get away from it in certain fights. This last year, I've been just grinding out. We upped it all. We hired a couple more new guys to come in and to work with us. And you'll definitely see some mix up of the takedown. But I feel like it's a mix of that with more elbows and knees and sprinkling a couple more kicks. But I want to be more of a well-rounded MMA fighter. I kind of got into this boxing phase, I would say. I don't want to say I got into this boxing phase. I think it's just been working so much that like I kind of like forget to mix it up. That it's like the jabs is going so well, the punches are going so well that I forget to mix it up sometimes. And I think I want to come out there April 8th and just be a complete MMA fighter.
Man, I can't wait. Now we got something coming up tomorrow, man, and I've been noticing on your Instagram, you've been promoting the heck out of that. Because I think you got fight. What is it? The sponsorship from Fight.
Oh, DraftKings, yeah. So we got John Jones versus Seer Gone in the main event. Obviously, if you guys, I don't know if you guys bet or anything, then you can hit up DraftKings and jump on it on their app and start betting on these fights. But yeah, we have a big fight coming up. I'm trying to put together a stream. Like I was asking earlier, I'm trying to like see if I can stream the fight and watch it and kind of like get my thoughts on the fight as they're going on, and kind of like kind of like Twitch, kind of like people play games and kind of. So I'm trying to do that. Right. I'm gonna do a test run today and play around with the StreamYard. But I'm gonna try to do that. I usually will go out to like either like a teammate's house or even a bar, but it's kind of close to the fight, so I'm gonna try to stay inside. But I want to get involved more of that on my YouTube, so I'm trying to figure that out. I'm gonna play with that today. But yeah, big fight tomorrow. You got John Jones versus Seer Gone. That's gonna be an incredible fight. Another banger. You got the GOAT. John Jones coming back off a 3-year layoff, so everybody's interested to see how he's going to do, and he's going up a weight class, so to heavyweight, and obviously anything can happen in heavyweight. These boys are so fucking big that one little slip up and you're damn near dead, like anything can happen. So this fight's going to be real exciting, and then they have a lot of up and coming young guys on the fight as well. So just getting ready for that. Obviously getting ready for my fight. I already trained today, so I'm done for the day. I'm gonna rest and then rest tomorrow and get after it Saturday night for the fights.
So
Rob, don't make me stop you real quick. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Ty.
No, go ahead, man.
No, but because Rob said something that, we was having a discussion before you came in, Rob. You know what I'm saying? And I caught a little word that you said while you were describing what's going to go down tomorrow. And I heard I heard you call somebody a little goat out here. Who might that be you referring to as the GOAT? And is that your GOAT, your greatest of all time? Would you consider that your GOAT?
I got to go with John Jones, man. If you look him up, like he has a lot of I guess bad press and a lot of bullshit that goes behind his name.
Fact.
That motherfucker be out there partying way too hard, man. He be acting up. Right?
Like a rock star.
He's one of those like, damn, we did it again. Like you can't believe some of this stuff. But when you take that stuff away, I guess I guess definitely not a great role model, right? But you take some of that away and you see his body work. You see what he's doing. You see how fast he's done it. And how easy sometimes he makes it look, and he still has been in some tough fights. Like it's impressive, man. He's always making weight. He's never not. He's always creative. He's always entertaining. He can he was the first UFC fighter to get a Nike sponsorship. Like nobody gets that nowadays. Like nobody, like Nike doesn't need anybody, but he was so popping that like they had to like drop some money off at him. He's basically undefeated. The only loss he had was like a disqualification. He kind of jacked up an elbow. Like you can't like go straight down. You can't
go down straight.
Yeah. So he kind of like he did one of those, and obviously he had to get disqualified. But he was beating this dude's ass before that happened. So basically, he's undefeated. He's super creative. He's great on the mic. He can talk that shit. He can promote it as much as possible, and I just think he's in. What I like the most fun, he's just so creative, man. You might see some punches, you might see some wrestling, you might see some spinning elbows, flying knees. He might just kick you in the face. It's you never know what you're gonna get with him, but same side, you never know what you're gonna get with him outside of the cage too, because he's always in some shit. So, but besides that, I think greatest time for sure, man. Like especially if he goes out there and wins the heavyweight title, like so he'll have the light heavyweight and the heavyweight title. Like you can't beat that guy, man. Or you can't deny that guy.
Rob, you just said like basically what I was telling him earlier. I said that I do believe he's a great fighter. I said he would. I said I think John Jones is a great fighter. I said if he goes and wins the heavyweight championship, despite all of the negative stuff that he's done on the thing, I will consider him the GOAT. But prior to that, I said my GOAT in the UFC is GSP, just because of the way he conducted himself. And also because of all the great fights he had against great fighters. Like he's had so many different fights with so many greats and come out on top and had a great resume, like as far as like all of the outside of the cage and all of the stuff that he does. Like that to me, it puts you above John Jones until John Jones goes and gets the heavyweight, if he can do it, because that'll be a 3-title division holder. Like, yeah, it's.
I 100% agree with you. That'll be my second go-to. You know, it'll be John Jones, GSP, then Khabib. You know, he's so you got the complete opposite. You got the dark side in John Jones, and you have like an angel in GSP. He was well spoken. You know, he's come out in the karate gi uniform for the kids and all that. He's real clean, striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu base, and like he's a complete gentleman. He didn't like to talk shit. He was more like he was real open about how vulnerable he felt sometimes before fights and how nervous. Yeah, and like some guys don't open up about that type of stuff. So he was one of the first guys to do that. He was one of the first guys to kind of like put it all together as far as the mental coach, the strength and conditioning coach, with being well-rounded in everything. And you can see it in his fights. He can strike with you. He can wrestle with you. He can do jiu-jitsu. And he didn't grow up doing anything but karate. So, but if you look at him, he's beating better wrestlers, and he's out boxing better boxers, and you know, and he's putting it all together to where like you can't tell when he's striking to wrestling or wrestling to striking. He just blended it so well, plus the mindset, plus the nutrition, plus the recovery. Like he was ahead of the time. Like, so yeah, I definitely agree. The only thing is, like, I could put Jones over him.
Don't switch up on me, Rob. Don't switch up on me, damn it.
The only thing is, it'd be the double champ shit. You know, if he can get that double champ stuff, like it just kind of separates him just a little bit.
Yep, that's what I said. I said the same thing. If he literally goes in here in the heavyweight division and gets the championship in the heavyweight division, there's no way that you can disregard him as being the GOAT in the UFC. He's done it all. Yeah, even though he's got the blemishes, but you got to overlook the blemishes and realize that this man's body of work supersedes all of that with the blemishes. Unless he just goes out there and adds more blemishes to the list, and you're just like, all right, John.
The thing about it is, you never know, man, because like the last time he got in some shit, he was getting introduced into the Hall of Fame, right? The UFC Hall of Fame. You're in Vegas. You know, obviously Vegas is wild. Then next thing you know, he's on fucking TMZ, smashing his head against a car, like acting out. You're like, what the hell? You was just chilling, like you just got into and it's kind of like, man, you get a couple of those drinks, and you know, that animal comes out, and some people can't control it, man. But that's what the fucked up part about it. I think that's what makes him like dangerous, man. That little, I think that animal that comes out when he's drunk comes out in the cage when he's under pressure, when he's looking at you and you're about to we're about to do this. I think that same guy comes out, which keeps him safe, keeps him on point, keeps him creative. But you got to know when to turn it off and turn it off. And I think he's having trouble with that, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Rob, one of the other things that I wanted to ask you about, because I know, I typically wouldn't ask somebody this, but I have to, because I don't know when I'm gonna get you back. What is your, like, say everything goes, the game plan goes like you want it to go on April 8th, and you come out victorious that night. What do you want to see for Rob Font next after that? Because right now you got Sean O'Malley, number one in the division. You got Aljamain Sterling, who's the champion. You got a potential rematch with Vera. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you want to see next for you? Are you going straight for championship? Do you want to go straight at the champion? Like, this might position you to make that decision after this fight, depending on what happens.
So right now the bantamweight division is on fire right now. You have the champ fighting Henry Cejudo that's coming back, so that fight's booked. Then you have Corey Sandhagen versus Vera. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's like the 4 and 5 guy. And then you have Merab. I'm gonna mess his name up. Merab something. I can't pronounce this guy's name. Versus Peter Yan. That's gonna be another banger. So I gotta kind of like see how those fights break out. Ideally, like, and it'd be good for me if Vera won. Like, it'd be good for me as far as like on paper, like, oh yeah, he's not losing to guys that just lose. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be good for me to Vera won. But if he lost, there's that rematch, so that's there. And then you also have the winner of the Peter Yan and Merab fight. Obviously whoever wins that fight, they're not going to want to fight backwards. So I would have to take the loser. So basically, I would have to take the loser out of 2 of these fights to kind of move closer to that title shot. I do believe I'm 2 fights away from being in that title conversation. So I would need this fight plus 1 more, and then kind of see how everything else shakes out. But the best thing about the UFC, they're so consistent with turning out these fights, and they already have everybody that's ahead of me booked up. And that's basically why I kind of got to fight backwards right now. That's why we're taking on the Adrian Yanez fight. So once we get back to that win column, we can talk more about moving forward.
What are your thoughts on this young man, Raul Rojas Jr., undefeated in the UFC right now, 18 years old? What have you seen about this kid that you would maybe identify with, because he's got a motor? The boy doesn't stop. But what is it that you like about this kid? I know he's in your division, but I don't think you guys are going to see each other anytime soon. So what do you think about this kid?
He's fearless. He is fearless, man. He's just having fun. He's doing what he wants to do. He's handling the spotlight well. He's going to get that push. He was on the Dana White Contender Series, did great there, and then he came on his debut and just destroyed this one kid, Jay Perrin. Great jiu-jitsu, great striking, and I think what I see the most is that how fun he's having, how much fun he's having, how fearless he is, and you can kind of get away from that once you kind of like get into these tougher fights, or then there's more on it. The main events, the pay-per-view, you can kind of treat it more like a job over just going out there and being that young kid just picking up the ball and playing. And I think I see that the most with him. Like he's just out there playing fight, play fighting basically.
Yeah, I see a lot of talent in that kid, man, and he's got a motor that doesn't stop.
Right.
You're right. He's out there. He looks like he's super excited and having a lot of fun every time I see him go out.
I hear a lot of good things from like a lot of the people he trained with, the coaches he trains with, obviously, but even the people that he doesn't train with, they speak very highly of him. They say he's super mature as far as like being so young, and and the thing about it is like when you have the UFC pushing you the way that he is, you get a little more confidence. You're like, all right, well, yeah, I am the man, I am the shit, and then like because I got everybody else telling me, so like you get more confidence, and with more confidence, you become a little more fearless and you try more things. You're not afraid to kind of like, all right, let me just throw this flying knee now. Let me throw this, because like we're all down to do it. But then when you're like when you know you're about to land it, it's a different type of confidence. Like there's one thing to hope and wish that you're about to punch this guy in the face, but when you know like there's nobody else that can tell you that you're not about to land this punch, and you actually land that punch, there's something that happens to your body that like it's like Jordan knowing he's going to make that shot. There's something that happens to you that where you can't explain it, and it's just like you can call your shot. And I think that's where he's at right now, where he knows something's about to go down. I'm either going to choke you or punch you with it, and like he just knows it right now.
I don't want to just
Rob, if you don't mind.
I was about to say, go ahead.
No, you see, you about to put it on to me, and I was about to grab it from you there, Tylene. There, Paul. But Rob, we talked about beforehand. You said about you having Puerto Rican parents, having a mom, Puerto Rican mom, Puerto Rican dad. I think, right? Both. Right.
Yep.
So how does it feel? Because being a comedian, I'll put myself in the line first. Being a comedian, I remember the first time that I did a show and came out the show and realized that there was a lot of Puerto Rican people in the audience that were there for me. It was like a shock. Like, you know you're Puerto Rican, you know you're doing great, but you don't know how much our people push you until you actually see them at your shows or at your events. How was that experience? Like, how's the Puerto Rican? Because we can be harsh too. We can be very, very hard fans. So, so how have we treated you so far?
It's been great. It's been great. I always get I always get busted on because I don't speak perfect Spanish, right? So they always busting my balls about that. But then I'm like, bro, what Puerto Rican, speaks perfect Spanish? Like everybody. I have so many cousins that don't even speak Spanish, so it's kind of like one of those things. But like obviously, like when I go do an interview and it's not like full on Spanish, I'm like, bro, what the hell? Tighten that up. But besides that, it's all love. It's all love, and it's not that many Puerto Rican fighters in the UFC either. So, and then Puerto Ricans are always behind their fighters. They get behind Tito, Trinidad, Hector Camacho, Cotto. So they're always behind those type of fighters, and then and it's funny, like the UFC has been trying to do something in Puerto Rico, but they just can't figure it out. Something with the commission and all that. They're trying to go there and push more. Right now they're pushing more than Mexico because it's bigger and all that. But they want to get behind Puerto Rico as well. And we have the fighters for it. It's been great, man. I can't complain. Me and my brother started talking about kind of starting a podcast called The Sorta Ricans. Like we're Puerto Rican, we're Sorta Rican, we're kind of like Puerto Rican.
I like that, the Sorta Ricans.
Yeah, so like my manager, he always says he's a Sorta Rican. He's not necessarily Puerto Rican, he's Sorta Rican. And because like it's funny, like I growing up, I didn't realize how I don't want to say bad or like how uncommon it was for me not to speak Spanish until I got to Tampa. Like all the other states, I'm sitting there like I'm new language. I'm trying to figure out this girl's from South Africa, this girl's from Malaysia. Like I didn't figure that, and I got to Tampa, and it was like everybody's like, "What the fuck you mean you don't speak Spanish? Like what's wrong with you?" Like even like because like I lived in Coney Island for a few in New York, in Brooklyn, and at that time it was like it was like nothing but Russians around, so it didn't really click into my head to where and then I got to Tampa and it was over. I was like, oh, okay. And then by that time it was a little, I don't say too late, but I was like, I would say this. I was only thing I could say, the only thing I've been real shy and bashful about is that like trying to like I understand a little bit, but then to kind of push myself to try and speak in front of others, I would be terrified. So I kind of never really caught the bug. And then but it's weird because like half of my family, like our generation, like all the older grandparents, aunts, they all speak it like not necessarily like fluently, but they all speak it. But like all the kids, it's like here and there, So it's kind of like I don't know if it's just for a while I was just beating myself up. Then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm gonna start seeing other. But I'm like, all right, man, fuck y'all.
We're the only ones that you have to have degrees to be Puerto Rican. We're the only ones that demand for you to. Anybody else, you could be Colombian and that's fine. If you're Puerto Rican, we're like, all right, well, can you speak Spanish? Where you born in the island? What's your mama state? You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly. It's funny. I still haven't been to the island yet.
Well, we gotta take you.
Yeah, we're trying to go. After this fight because we'll be in Miami. My girl's Dominican. She hasn't been in DR either, so we're trying to figure out which one we should go to first. And but like it's I got to get out there. I had actually I was doing a seminar yesterday and I had a couple Puerto Rican kids in there, and they're like, bro, what I could fly you there now. Like I got family there now. I'm like, let's do it. But besides that, like obviously bust my balls, but for not speaking perfect Spanish. But after that, it's nothing but love. Especially out here, there's not the biggest community of Puerto Rican community in like the Boston area. They're a little further out, but it's all love. When I go to Connecticut, there's nothing but Puerto Rican, so like there's nothing but love there. Same thing when I go home to Tampa. So like nothing but love. And again, like Puerto Rico, they just want to see a fight. They just want to see a fight and want to see a banger. And I think that's what we do. we fight, man. Like you can't name a Puerto Rican fighter that doesn't bring it. You can't name a Puerto Rican UFC fighter that doesn't bring it. You got me, Pettis, young Pettis. Like we're there, and just we just gotta get a champion. That's it.
Now, now, a lot of people may not know this, but you just recently became a father. You got a beautiful baby girl, and I mean, I saw the pictures all over Instagram. She is gorgeous, man. So you should be so proud of that. But how has that changed you, if at all? Since now that you're a father, like moving forward, do you feel yourself a little bit more cautious in the ring, or do you find yourself trying to, I mean, like, because I know that like that's one of those things that now you have this little person who's depending on you. You can't go in there full Rocky mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
no, I think it's been like I think the right slap in the face to kind of wake up, and just get back to, not necessarily get back to what I was doing before, but like really focusing on the small things. Like I said, like I was doing decent in that last fight, but it was the lack of focus towards the end of that second round that kind of like, obviously I got caught, and from there it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So just trying to be super laser focused on everything. It could be, doing this podcast, just be all the way here instead of kind of thinking all over the place. Like when I'm in the gym, I'm just at the gym. I'm not worried about anything else. When I'm with my baby, I'm just here with the baby. I'm not on my phone. I'm not watching Netflix, whatever. I'm just trying to be in and be present as possible. And I do believe that'll help me, and it'll help me get the reps throughout the week, which then leads throughout the months, which then leads into the fight. But just a reminder to stay focused, man. I think I see every day, stay focused. Like I wake up with this energy, this like happy energy, with this like love energy. Like it's almost like every day's fight night. I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is great. And when I just wake up and I see her, and then she gives me that little smile, I'm like, oh man, all right, I'm ready to run 10 miles right now. Like I'm ready to go. So like it's just like it's lit a fire under me. It's just like, and just a reminder to stay focused, stay concentrated. Like anything can happen in these fights, but if you're on point, you're focused, like you could do great things, man. And like just seeing her like is a reminder, man. Like, listen, I made that. Oh, I could make some other shit too. Like I could make some shit happen on fight night. I'm ready, man. Like
yes, sir.
And I'm just sitting there just staring at her, like wow. Just like
she's so pretty, man.
It's just like a lot of love. I think a great reminder to kind of like get back to like obviously doing your thing as far as like winning, and because it doesn't. I don't need motivation to train. Like I said, like I'm an addict. Like I need to train. Like it's like right. I'm like oh man, like fuck, if I don't train, I'm like fucked up, So like, and I don't know if that's good or bad thing, but it's not. I don't need motivation to get to the gym. I don't need motivation to kind of like run. I don't need motivation to work out. I don't need motivation to kind of like spar or go to jiu-jitsu class. I'm down to drive an hour just for an hour session and then drive back. I'm down for all of that. It's more of like, that's fine now. It's like really laser in and focus up and not miss a rep, never showing up late, pushing 110%. One of my coaches used an analogy the other day. Is like, I want you guys to be so focused, like that you're a pilot. You have to take that plane up, fly to the destination, and put that plane down. There's no mistakes that can happen, and like I want that sense of urgency where like, yeah, like obviously I don't want to become a pilot, but I want to have that sense of urgency to like, I got 50 lives on me right now. I gotta get this plane, put it down, you know what I'm saying, and then do it all over again, and the same thing now it's not just me, it's me, my girl, and our wifey and my baby girl. So it's like, all right, I gotta bring this plane up. I gotta fucking get to our destination and put it down. There's no mistakes, and just kind of having that mindset.
Tyrone, did you have any questions?
Yeah. I wanted to throw maybe even a tough question at you, and then I'll hit you with an easy one if it's just to bring us down, a little chaser. But we know every industry kind of has its bad sides, its dark sides, things that we need to be fixed and stuff like that. Is there anything in MMA or UFC or anything like that where you would like to improve the way things work, or maybe the way people are dealt with, or anything like that? Just what have you seen in your experience that you would like to see different?
The basics. I would like to see like, healthcare, stuff like that. They take care of us as far as like the flashy shit, but you're not really like, if you look past the flashy stuff, you don't really have that core if that's why I got to start podcasting and staying
because
they
use that platform.
They don't like they'll hook you up with like the extra check here. They'll hook you up with some free supplements, a bunch of clothes, and like you can get caught up in that, but obviously you don't have any ownership in the fights, and in the small things like whatever happens in the fight, they'll take care of that. But if like say you get sick outside of camp, that's kind of on you, So I would say the biggest thing is some type of ownership as far as like, and that doesn't happen until you get into the pay-per-view points and all that stuff.
Right.
And then obviously health insurance. Besides that, I love what I do, man. Like I can't complain. I'm not one of those guys we need to unionize. Like I'm not that guy, like I'm like, but like it could be better, it could be nicer. But it's tough, man, because it's like Dana White does take care of us. Like my last fight I lost, right? He FaceTimed me and I'm in the hospital jacked up, got him all IV'd up. He FaceTimed me and was like, yo, just want to check on you, see how you doing. Crazy fight, great fight. And he paid me my whole check, because they usually give you a win bone. So you got paid the show and then you get paid to win, right? And he paid me both of them with the extra on the side. So it's kind of like, I can't, like he's taking care of it. Good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's good, but it's like, but there's not a guarantee, because he didn't do that till last fight. So it's kind of like, there's never that guarantee, but like it is a sweet job. It is cool as hell. I can if I get busier, I can use this platform to then go into something else, into some other type of ownership. Just use this as a platform to get there.
So is that what you want to go ahead and do, like moving forward after the fighting, like after it's all said and done, and Rob has had his career? First of all, what is it that you want people to say about you and remember about you mostly in your career? And secondly, the second part is, once you finish your career, what would you like to see? What would you like to do moving forward?
Yeah, so as far as like when I want to be known, I want to be known as that Puerto Rican kid with that jab that you just couldn't get away from, And then outside of retirement and stuff like that, I definitely foresee me coaching. I love teaching. I love coaching. Opening up a gym, as far as like business wise, but then just trying to help as much as possible with the young kids, with whoever catches that bug that I caught. I want to be able to help them and get them to the UFC or to whoever promotion they want to get to quicker, faster, without any of the mistakes I made and know how to figure out. So I definitely want to turn to coach / gym owner after fighting, for sure.
You talked about people who caught that bug and everything. What would you, if there's just one thing you can say to somebody, and say, this is how you start, this is a great way to start in, to get into MMA, to get into UFC, whatever, what would you tell them the first thing that they should do?
I would say try to find a gym that starts with wrestling and jiu-jitsu based first, and then the conditioning and striking could come easier. I do believe that like grappling takes a lot longer to pick up and to understand. There's a lot of small details and nuances that you have to figure out with time, so it takes a lot longer to kind of get. So I would say find that gym that's real good with wrestling, real good with grappling, and I think your striking eventually will catch up to that. If you see you have wrestlers come into the UFC and they don't even wrestle anymore because they got so good at striking, because it comes a little easier once you have a solid base like a wrestling or jiu-jitsu. So I would say try to find a gym that has a solid wrestling and jiu-jitsu base, for sure.
It's a very workman-like approach. I like it. Like, none of the flashy stuff. Work on the fundamentals. Get your foundation and stuff. No, I appreciate it. That's definitely your vibe. You're the blue collar guy. You know what I mean? The one that we root for and stuff, because it's not all about the flashiness. It's not all about the John Jones level of whatever craziness. And it seems like you definitely put in a lot of work to get to the point where you are, and it was all just decisions that you made. And that's something that is it's huge, because we do have people that have just like this really weird kind of talent that just kind of everything seems to come easy for them and everything seems to just kind of fall into place. But just kudos. I say all this just to say kudos and respect for like really just making the decision and being like, I'm gonna go and do this shit and I'm gonna work for it.
Yeah, man. It makes it's fucking awesome when I hear, man, the pizza man just beat me up, man. Like,
he delivered.
So it's like it's pretty cool to kind of hear that, and see like, wow, like I've had delivery drivers be like, yo, like man, I just started training because of you, like stuff like that. I get like DMs all the time, like, to kind of like, and it was just kind of like brightens me up, like, yeah, we're motivating people, we're doing something. If I can motivate a couple of people, that's huge for me, and then some people they kind of like, some people kind of remind me sometimes, like, listen, like, you came a long way. Like, half the guys you're fighting, they've been training for years, they've been wrestling since high school, they've been boxing since high school, and you just kind of jumped in it. So like, don't beat yourself up when you mess up or you or you lose a fight or you have a bad day in training. Like, bro, you could still be delivering pizzas. Look what you're doing now. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Let's get to it. Like, these ups and downs are going to happen, but like, as long as we stay focused, we stay solid, keep our feet down and keep grinding, like, we're going to win again, and we're going to get back to that conversation. And that's what I've noticed since I started. Like, again, I lost my first fight, and that same mentality, I felt like I'm right back to that spot again. Like, all right, well, I never lost 2 in a row in my career. Now, for the first time, I lost 2 in a row. So I'm like, I'm in that spot where, like, all right, let's bring that fucking pizza man back out and we get back to work.
I like that. I think you might want to start making pizza man shirts. I got just a little silly.
I was thinking about, like, I saw it. I was in Portland, Maine, not too long ago, and they had like a pizza shop / bar upstairs. Where I'm like, man, I'm trying to think, like, we can maybe do something here, like make something work to where like we got the bar pizza thing, but then like make it to the point where like you still want to get, you don't want to come to my spot, you want to get your pizza delivered from us just because of the story. But like, just thinking out loud, but it was the coolest pizza bar I've ever been to. Like, it was a full-on like dance floor type setup upstairs and then pizza restaurant shop downstairs. I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. Like, you can see how they can show fights up there. They can kind of they can even put down like small little, like a boxing match in the thing. My mind started working. I'm like, all right, this might be
I can see you like building this place in your mind. And I got a pitch for you. Like, maybe you could like deliver pizzas to your enemies, and then with the pizza also comes like a couple punches in the face.
Go to the slice of funk.
Wow. Yo, well, Rob, man, we really appreciate you coming through and spending this time with us, man. You've been like one of the most gracious guests we've had on the show thus far. And I know I'll be rooting for you April 8th, and I need you to come out on top, because I need that Rob Font nod that you, yeah, baby, after you beat him, you know how you get the yeah. I'm gonna need that energy at the end of the fight, man. So definitely you'll have our support, and we wish you the utmost luck. Take a moment to plug your YouTube and let everybody know about it so they can follow you. Also your Instagram, and just anything that you got going on. Just let us be aware of it outside of the 287 UFC pay-per-view.
Appreciate it, man. Again, thanks guys for having me on. Catch me on Twitter at Rob S Font, Instagram at Rob_Font, and just type in YouTube. On YouTube, type in Rob Font. You'll see me. You'll see my page. It'll pop up. Go give that a like. Go give that a follow, and please subscribe. And again, guys, thanks for having me on. This has been awesome. I felt like I've learned a lot just by doing this and picking up from you guys. And I want to ask you about your introduction, because I gotta tighten up my introduction. If any guys any tips, anything, again, I'm not, don't be shy, let me know, say what's up, like again, I'm not afraid to kind of fix what I gotta fix, and again, thanks guys for having me on.
Hey man, and again, we appreciate you. You are now a part of the Multiverse family. So you listen. If you see
Also,
anything,
if you ever need a co-host, like.
Hey, don't play, Rob. Hey, Rob, don't play. We'll get you up on here, Rob. Don't play.
I'm serious, man. Like, I wanna get a little more involved with this, So like if you ever need a co-host, let me know. Like I'll do my homework. I'll learn how to ask the questions properly, and then go from there. But yeah, man, hit me up.
Rob, would you do me a favor if you don't mind? Would you do me a favor? Could you say to the camera, if you don't mind, welcome to the Multiverse?
Hold on. Let me put him on full. Let me put him on full screen for that. Let's put him on.
You say you say your name. I'm Rob Font, and welcome to the Multiverse. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, guys? I'm Rob Font. Welcome to the Multiverse.
That's right here, man. You heard it right here. So listen, to everybody in the audience section, make sure you go check out Rob Font, April 8th, UFC pay-per-view 287. The card is crazy. I mean, the card, like Rob, when I saw this card, I was like, what?
It really is.
After banger, you got Pereira,
Adesanya.
You got Burns and Masvidal, which is gonna be a banger. That's two bangers right there. Somebody's going to sleep, I'm predicting. So yeah, you got you and Israel. So it's Adrian. So it's so much going on. You got young Raul Rojas Jr. versus Rodriguez. There's just so many big, huge fights this night. And make sure you tune in. Go get your pay-per-view. Pay for your pay-per-view right now.
This will be a guarantee the card of the year. They stacked it.
Right.
This feels like I'm on the third fight. No, I'm on the main card, but it feels like a main event card. Main event type scenario. It's in Miami. Everything goes big in Miami. It's going to be a great night. If you can make it to Miami, get there. If not, make sure to buy that pay-per-view, because I'm telling you, you do not want to miss this. It's going to be crazy.
Man, you heard it. You heard it right here. Man. Rob is predicting a lot of snapbacks that night. So you heard that, Adrian? A lot of snapbacks. so you better be prepared for that. But again, we want to thank you, Rob, for showing up for us, man. And again, you're more than welcome. And listen, I'm telling you, I'm jumping the DM. We gonna get you on as co-host, so don't think we playing with that. But again, we thank you so much for showing up and showing out, and appreciate it. And appreciate you. And listen, guys, you guys got anything on the way out? You want to say to?
I want to shout out to Cartel. Shout out to the New England Cartel. We got to shout out the Cartel. We can't forget about the boys. So we got to shout out the Cartel. And shout out to your brother, too. Next time you come on, bring your brother on. Because like, if he nerdy like us, we got to get him on. You know what I'm talking about?
You guys are loving, man. He I call him my little Google, man. Like he knows it all. He gives me stats. Like I was a kid that was outside. He was a kid inside. So he gives me stats on basketball, football. If I got a movie question, he's giving me those the movie, like if I got any type of anything I need to, I just go to him and like, oh, see, what you want to do is this, and he just breaks it down. And I'm like, it's like you guys will love him, man. He's hilarious, he's funny, and it kind of looks like you too, Minnie. So you guys
that's my brother.
We're getting the whole Font crew on here. We'll just bring the whole Font crew on here. It'll be a family reunion, and we'll just have everybody on here. Because look, Rob, you said some things that definitely at some point when we get you back on the show, we're going to touch on. Because I'm a huge martial arts fan. Like I grew up watching martial arts movies, the Sundays, the Saturdays, you know what I'm saying? Watching all of those Kung Fu movies, everything martial arts. And we love martial arts here, and just sports, anything, you can name it. We talk about it all. We love it all. So we definitely want to have you back for some of those conversations and bring your brother on. Bring wifey on. Bring little what is it? Emerald Monroe?
Yeah, Emerald, yeah.
Yo, it's a beautiful little girl. Bring the whole family, and again, we're gonna celebrate this victory. I'm already speaking it to an existence. We believe in you. We believe in you. And I just want to see that jab fly, man. I want to see that jab fly, Rob. The best jab in boxing, best jab in the world. Yo, and I can't wait till you start your school, because I got a little mini me that's got a hell of a jab, and he needs someone like you to come in and really, you know what I mean? Yeah, so we can have our next UFC fighter up in here.
Like, I feel like I'm confident in fighting, but I in a weird way I'm more confident in teaching too. Like, so I'll take care of the man for sure.
Oh man, thanks again, Rob. So, you guys got anything else, Tyrone, Manny?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Best of luck with the fight, obviously. And as you rise, which you obviously will, with this hard work and with your attitude and stuff like that, just keep this energy and keep being a good example for people and the right way to do things, because it is cool to hear. And thank you for spending your time with us. Appreciate that.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you guys.
Yeah, let's give another round of applause for Rob and everything that he's been able to bring to the show. Hey, we can't wait to have him back. But listen, this has been another episode of the Multiverse Podcast. I'm your host, Bad Ty Bricks, here with Minnie Morales, Tyrone Thornhill, and Rob Font. And until next time, guys, be good, and we are out.